And there's a look to the west along Rosedale Valley Road. And those towers off in the distance are in the Yorkville neighborhood. And hello there, it is Sunday, November 12th. The time is 12:26 p.m. and it's about 5 degrees Celsius. I haven't yet mastered the art of rotating this camera back around when I do those intros, but I'll get the hang of it eventually. And this here is Sherbourne Street. That's the Rosedale neighborhood off in the distance, a rather affluent neighborhood. But I find myself having to be in Dundas Square around 1 p.m. this afternoon, so that's where I'm heading. And back on July 20th, I did a video walking through the Allan Gardens, and that has unfortunately become the scene of the city's largest homeless encampment, and that video has amassed over 400,000 views, and I've heard from some viewers that the situation has got worse since then. So I'm heading down that way. It's on the way anyways. This is Bloor Street East. So we'll pass through there. And I'll make my way down to Dundas eventually. Maybe I'll take George Street. It's been a while since I've been on George. And then, well, that didn't sound right, but you get the idea. And then it'll be over to where else but Dundas Square. It's a pretty cool day. Not as cold as yesterday though. And this is on the east side of downtown. There is the Maison Selby. An excellent Oliver and Bonaccini French restaurant. I've been there a few times. That's in a building that was actually part of Canada's largest residential relocation. I had to move that house several feet. Or rather, most expensive. I don't know if it was the biggest, but it had to move several feet to make way for the condo. And I'm realizing I've got this camera on tilt lock mode here. Let's see. If I can get out of that mode. There we go. There's still some lovely fall colors showing. And this is an area known as Upper Jarvis, and that is bordered by Bloor Street to the north, Sherbourne Street, which is what I'm on now, to the east, Wellesley Street to the south, and Jarvis to the north. It looks like there's plans for a 59-story tower going in that lot. And I originally was going to head down around Ontario Place this afternoon, where there's a large event taking place. People basically protesting the province choosing to turn that property into a giant private spa. If there are any more events like that in the future, I'll try to get down there and cover it. And this walk should be a little over 3 kilometers or so.
Don't worry, bro, I got your back.
This is Isabella Street. There's the Isabella Hotel and Suites, as well as Gabby's. That's just a pub that you'll find all over the city, but I still don't know anyone to this day who actually goes there. Maybe I just don't know very many people. They seem to do a good business. So the next major street is Wellesley. And before I get to Carlton, that's where the Allan Gardens is, we'll be walking by the Phoenix concert venue. And I have not been there since the mid-2000s. And just on the left is the St. Jamestown neighborhood. I did a walk through there, I think, about 2 months ago. This is Our Lady of Lourdes Roman Catholic Church on the right. I guess being a Sunday would be one of the busier days for these places. They have a Saturday Mass at 5:15 and 3 on, well, it looks like 6 on Sundays. It's always interesting to see how people bundle up on days like this. Some just go full-on Canada Goose. Others, like me, wear something lighter and a bunch of layers. I see people in thick gloves, and people with no gloves, kind of freezing their fingers off. And the sun hides behind some buildings, and then feeling kind of warm when it peeks out. There's the Wellesley Community Center, so this is Wellesley Street coming up. And Sherbourne Street, of course, features one of the city's better bike lanes. It's curb protected. And it's the only north-south bike lane on the east side of downtown. Well, I guess on the west side, there's really only University. North-south routes are a bit underserved. It would make sense to have one on Yonge or Bay, particularly on Yonge, but there's only Midtown bike lanes on Yonge. sweetaddictions.ca. Wonder if they thought twice before putting up a place with that name in this neighborhood. That is the Fudger House. It's a City of Toronto care facility. Speaking of which, we'll also, I guess if I take George Street, be going by the Seton House. That's a large shelter that should have been replaced by now. It was supposed to close down, I think, back in 2020, and that kept getting delayed, and then the pandemic came. But I think it's still operating. Yeah, you won't see too many people riding their bikes without gloves or mitts on in this. Seems kind of odd to see a low-rise commercial building in the midst of all these older houses. Have no fear, it'll soon be a condo. Looks like the businesses are already clearing out. This used to be one of the wealthier neighborhoods in town. Hence a lot of these grand old homes. And there is the Phoenix. It's an 18,000 square foot concert venue. I wonder if this will be part of that redevelopment. Hopefully not. This opened up in 1984 as the Diamond, if I'm not mistaken. And in 91 became the Phoenix. It's mostly alternative rock shows that play there. I used to go there for Edge 102 night. It's a local radio station. I think they broadcast from the Phoenix on Saturdays, and they'd be at Whiskey Saigon and Joe on Sundays. And they used to operate out of a club in Burlington called The Kingdom. I remember making my way over there at some point. I also remember seeing Josie Dye, one of the VJs, at a club called Republic, where the Scotiabank Theatre is. I don't really listen to the radio much anymore. I don't even know if they do nights like that. And this is Carlton Street coming up. We're right at, we gotta move on, the northeast corner of the Garden District. Cabbagetown is just over to the east there. And this is Allan Gardens Park, where I recorded that video I talked about earlier. I'll leave the commentary out of this walk. We'll just pass through the park and you can see for yourself. But I will notice at first glance, it doesn't seem as full as it did that first time. I walked through here back in July, well, the first time I made a video of the situation. I guess the big concern is with the winter about to roll around, how these people will handle it. I'll shut up until I'm on the other side of the park. Or at least about that topic. The conservatory, which features a number of botanical gardens, is under our refurbishment. And there is a dog park just over there. That hum would be the sound of a generator. And we are through. And this is George Street here. Just wait for a break in traffic. We'll take this down to Dundas. Just need to cross Gerard. This is pretty quiet. And there is the Seton House on the left. I can't really tell if it's even open or not. But in November of 2020, there was a $580 million plan launch to revitalize this stretch of George Street, including building a new facility here. That is a shelter. think there's someone. There's around 378 beds here. The new facility would have been smaller, and there's concern as to where the displaced residents would go. And right before Dundas, there will be a gentleman's club whose days are numbered. We'll be walking past. Looks like a lot of these buildings here have been kind of condemned. And this is not something you see a lot of in Toronto. A gated private parking lot. I would assume smash and grabs and that sort of thing happen around here a bit, or at a bit higher rate than elsewhere in the city. Hence the need for that.
I just seen my guy, bro. You fucked before.
There's Fillmore's. Adult Lifestyle Sundays. Curious? Check us out. There's plans for a 46-story tower on that lot. Afternoon delight, 4 to 7. They always kind of have clever things written on the marquee here. There's a new development across the street. Let's see what they have written on it today. Once again, it's golf, Jay's golf, but hope spring's eternal. Go Leafs, go. They mustn't have updated that in a while. The Jays were eliminated a while ago. So this is west on Dundas Street West. And we're at Jarvis Street. This area is known as the Garden District, named after the Allan Gardens. And I'll stick to this side of the street. A few weeks ago, I did a walk with a viewer that came up Church Street. And we went west along Dundas, but that was on the south side. I always kind of like the grit of this little stretch of Dundas between Jarvis and Yonge. It's got a really interesting character to it. Kyoto style beef. I've been to Kyoto. It's a very short train ride away from Osaka. Oh wow, I think I just caught that on camera. That was pretty sick. We'll see if there's any events going on at Dundas Square today. This building on the right is up for redevelopment. And a lot of people will be sad to see this place go, the Imperial Pub.
See what I'm saying? So the young man had.
Alright, I guess I'll just stick to this side of the street until we're at the intersection. There's TMU University. Looks like there's some fire trucks out in front of the Eaton Center. The usual loud busking and preaching scene isn't quite out in full effect today. Well, we're here at Dundas Square, and on that note, I hope you enjoyed this one. Starting up near Sherbourne and Bloor, heading south. Passing through the Allan Gardens, making my way over to here at Dundas Square. I'm curious to hear your thoughts and comments down below, and if you wish to support the channel, there's links to my Patreon and YouTube channel membership down in the description. I have an Instagram account at Johnny Strides, and there is a super thanks button appearing below the video if you wish to say thanks that way. Anywho, thank you for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Yoink.